Hi, I'm Angie. I'm a 53-year-old osteopath and wellness speaker.
And I'm Annie. I'm a 24-year-old actor, and we're best friends with a podcast called Too Young for This and Too Old for That.
It's a podcast that's been going for about 9 months now, and we love having intergenerational conversations between Gen X and Gen Z. We are well into Series 2. We've had guests. We've launched a sister mini podcast, Gen in 10, and we're looking to move to the next phase.
And if you feel like you're a brand or a business which our values align with, which is curiosity, joy, exploration, then please get in touch. We'd love to work with you and possibly be a sponsor.
We are busy ladies. We have our own jobs outside the podcast. I run 2 clinics, Annie's a teacher and actress, and we're out there doing our thing. We would love to share some of that with you, and we would love a new sponsor to come on board alongside our long-term sponsor, the amazing Wilfrids.
You can find out more via our website, tooyoungtoold.com, and we'd love to have a conversation.
So get in touch. We can't wait to have a chat and spread the word that the generations are great when they're together. Hi, and welcome to Gen in 10, the little sister podcast of our main podcast, Too Young for This, Too Old for That. I'm Angie, I'm 53.
And I'm Annie, I'm 24, and we're best friends.
Yay.
And today we are going to talk about Age of Attraction on Netflix. It's been going everywhere on the internet. It's gone a little bit viral. And for those who don't know, it's a Netflix show all about, a little bit like Love is Blind, where singles, they meet, but the catch is they do not know each other's age. So they get to know each other and then they find out their age and decide if they want to pursue a connection. And naturally, as an intergenerational podcast, we had to talk about it.
We definitely do. Now, Annie, we've proven that age is no barrier to friendship because, as you said, we're besties. Watching this, honestly, it was I was cringing, and also a bit intrigued. So, Question number 1, I'm 53, you're 24. Could you date someone my age?
So first off, I'm just going to have to come clean. Like, my Hinge settings were literally 24 my age, and I moved up to 29 and felt that was quite brave. So that's where my head is at before watching this show. Like, I had people say, "Oh, like, why didn't you go on dates with anyone in their 30s? You could totally do that." And my excuse was always, I feel like mentally we're at different stages. So the idea of dating anyone in their 50s, it just feels like unrealistic with where I'm at in my life.
Yeah.
Okay, flipping it onto you, Angie. You're 53, your sons are in their 20s. Would you date someone around your sons?
I think I'm going to be ill. No, I don't think so. So my hinge settings start at 40, and
Yeah.
even that I think is a little bit low on the low side. When
I don't think that is.
When I've taken the age settings off, I have had some likes from 25-year-olds, which I have to say I think is a bit weird. Okay, so let's come to the show. The couples that come out of it, I've watched right to where you can get to at the moment before they release the next.
Yeah.
We've
I'm
got
getting the cast list up.
we've got young men and much older women, and we've got young girls and much, much older men.
Yeah. And I think we've got to say right off the bat, it's obviously more acceptable as a society to see. I think we're used to seeing, even if it does get a few eyebrows, older men with younger women. And we kind of all just go, oh, yeah, sure. But whenever an older woman is dating a younger man, we're all like, oh, she's a cougar. It's this, it's that. So I do think it's like, I am kind of like, go on, girls, like for the older ladies. I'm like, yeah, go on. But it is like, it does bring up conversations.
And I think the other thing to say is that, of course, if you're in a relationship where one person is much younger than the other, then obviously that's absolutely fine, right? Whatever floats.
Oh, yeah, God.
We're not here to preach anything. But
Well, I'm here to talk about the show.
I have to say, this show gave me the ick. It gave me the ick all the way round. And the first thing that I just cannot believe, right, is that how people got the ages of the other people so flipping wrong.
Yes, I agree on this. Like,
There was one guy, George. Is it George? Jorge? George? He was
Jorge.
he's old, right? There's no
Yeah, he is really
denying
old.
it. He looked old. He looked old. He acted old. He was pretending not to be old. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but I guess it's also in the editing. But I was just screaming at the TV, like, he's old enough to be your granddad.
It's the fact that I was upset for her because she matched with someone originally who I think they actually had a really lovely connection.
The lovely Justin. He was so
Yes.
soft and sweet.
And he was so gentle and sweet, and actually, like, age-wise, it was a little bit more, like, realistic.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas, like, she's what, 27? And sorry, this is gonna be full of spoilers, but by the end, he reveals that he is, because they go into this promise room and then reveal their ages, that he is 60. And that is, I have to admit, like, I personally feel that's one step too far. What I will say in this, by the way, just to preface, is my grandparents actually had, like, 18-year age gap.
Wow.
And they had an amazing, yeah, granddad was 18 years old, and they had an amazing marriage. So I do believe it can work. But that to me, when he was 60 and she was obviously like in her, like,
Seven.
she looked young. Yeah, she did look young. I think that is a mad leap mentally.
I was yelling at her to get out of the room, to be honest. And I was
Yeah.
just and what I felt about obviously about a lot of those interactions were that there were a lot of gulps, and then a lot of people deciding that in order to stay on the show, they had to say they were happy with it, so they just carried on, whereas at least half of them were just like, "Nah." So no,
Yeah.
I've watched to the where we are
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
There's definitely a bit of that coming out. Okay, so she was 27 and he was 60, and that's
Yeah.
obviously really, really huge. That's like you going out with one of your dad's mates.
Oh my
Um,
God.
but then there was another couple where the girl was 22, I think,
Yeah.
and the guy was
38?
48.
Was he
48.
was he
He's
38 or 40?
48. No, I don't
The
know how it works.
Botox guy.
The Botox guy. Oh my
Sorry, he's a very good looking man, but like,
God,
facts are facts.
he wasn't. He just looked like well, look, we're recording this in England, and neither of us have had any work done, as you can probably tell. So, well, unless you have and you haven't told me.
No, I haven't.
But honestly, he looked old as well, and she
He
looked like she could be his kid, or that she
she
could
did.
be the play date. She could be that was like dating the babysitter. That's what I
Well,
felt like.
she also, she just has, like, so full of, like, life and energy and zest, and she was 22 and he had a 14-year-old daughter, and that I think is, like, it's less about the age gap. I'm just trying to find his name. To me, that's less about the age
Andrew, he
gap
was
and
Andrew, wasn't he?
yeah, because I actually, if my friend was dating, like, a real dish in their 40s, I'd probably be like, "If you're happy, go for it, have
Would
fun."
you? Would you really?
Pro I mean, I would be like, "Wow." I would be like, "That's something to write home about, like, we need to talk about." But I would be, if I think if it was, like, it was really healthy and happy, I would be like, "Okay, you are a grown-ass woman, do what you want."
And what if they had kids? What if they
But
had
I
2
actually, I
kids?
do, this is where I do think it's interesting because I think, you know, dating with children, that must add an extra layer, and it's whether at 22, are you mentally prepared to, like, to come into the children's lives, like, these are 14-year-olds, these are teenagers, and be a part of their life. That to me is actually the bigger deal than the age, I think, because
Flip that on its side, on its head. If you were 14 and your dad brought home a 22-year-old,
you would, yeah, you'd think things. You'd be like, "That's insane." You would be like, "Dad, are you for real?" Like, you'd think your dad was having a crisis, probably. No, but you would, like, off the
you'd
bat, like, you're
be
being really blunt about it.
you'd be hoping your dad was putting money in the therapy fund, I think.
Yeah, you would. I know people who similar situations had happened to, and you go, "This is," and it's a mind-blowing thing. Uh, like, it's not to say, this is all not to say, like, this isn't, this can't work out, but off the cuff, these are the issues that come up. And we can't, and the whole point of the show is they're going, "Oh, age doesn't matter." And I'm like, but life experience and what you've experienced and what you've brought into the world and the consequence of that might be children. That matters. That matters for
Definitely.
everyone involved.
Definitely. So on the flip side though, so we both found the older guys and the younger girls a little bit
Yeah.
that's like icky. And but on the other side, where I can't remember her name, and
Oh, the
the
first
guy, the very first couple, right? I
oh,
think
and she's
everyone
gorgeous.
watching, yeah, everyone watching would have been
Too.
like, "Whoop, whoop, whoop," right?
Oh, Teresa, the 54-year-old Teresa,
Teresa.
who's stunning. I
Yeah.
really like her. I really like her.
So were you
She
rooting for them though, in a
Yeah,
different
I
way then?
was. I think they're the reason they put there's a reason they put them first.
Yep.
'Cause, like, you automatically are like, "Oh, this is can actually be really wholesome." And they had a genuinely amazing connection. The plot twist, though, was that she thought he might be 38, and I admit, I thought he might be in his 30s as well. It turns out he's 27 and younger than her oldest son. Thoughts, Angie? Go.
Exit, exit, whatever. What you might have not seen is that in one of the future episodes where they move into the flats.
'Cause they go and live together, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. And even reminding everyone. And they do the bedroom noises. So the cameras don't go into the bedroom with them, but they do. Obviously, they're mic'd up in the bedrooms and with them. Yeah, it wasn't nice. It
That's just
wasn't
a little
nice.
bit too much. I blame Netflix for that. I don't think Netflix need to do that. I think that's far too much Netflix. Give people, like, privacy. They're already, like, putting themselves on your show. That's ridiculous, Netflix. That's ridiculous.
And I
It's
guess
2026.
where I came to on that, if number one, I was rooting for her, right? She's the same age as me.
Yeah.
He's called a hottie, and
She's got good vibes.
he's yeah, she seems like a nice lady, and he's really into her. So yes, great. And then very quickly, straight after that, came the thought that actually, though, you're a mum, and your kids are going to be what? Number one, why are you doing this on this show? Because that's just so awful. And number two, your poor children are going to have to come to terms with this relationship. And I think, as we've talked before, when you're a parent, you're always a parent, rightly or
Yeah,
wrongly, you're always a parent. And do you owe your kids something, even when they've grown up and gone away? I think for me, yes. So,
I agree.
yeah, I'm sorry, Therese, but you're going to have to keep that one quiet and on the down low.
I think it's also I think it's a really I think the thing is with the shows, it's brought up genuine conversations that we could talk about for ages in terms of, like, age gaps and things like that. Because I do think we shouldn't be so close-minded as to age, but there's, like, a rule that floats about. I don't know whether some people might know this in social circles called half your age plus 7, where if
Never
you're not
heard
quite
of her. Never heard.
where yeah, if you're not quite so say you are 40,
Mm.
and you're like, "Oh, you can go out with a 27-year-old because half your age is 20 plus 7. Call me Cara Vorderman. That's 27." So,
I'll have a consonant, please.
but it kind of not all the time, but that's a loose rule that kind of works because it's a 27-year-old going out with a 40-year-old. Kind of it's kind of
Yeah, I
okay.
don't think that works. That's a bit Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh my gosh, what the he doesn't date under 25. When I turn 25, I want to do a Sabrina Carpenter and have a Leo cake. That's my last year to bag Leonardo DiCaprio.
I think he'll give that old man a swerve.
But I think the bigger question that that relating to the podcast and amongst all the giggles is, do we think large age gaps, and I'm not talking like 10 years, that sort of thing, large age gaps, we're talking 20, 15, 20 up. Do we think that's like actually achievable as a relationship overall?
Question is what a relationship means, right? I suppose. So in this show, obviously, they're driving them to move in together very quickly. And then to the next stage that they haven't released yet is they have to introduce their partner to their children, their parents, their significant others.
Yeah.
And I think, it's all fun and games, isn't it? Until grandma has a heart attack at your 18-year-old boyfriend.
I think also one thing I want to touch on that I've been thinking the whole time I was watching the show is they all have and obviously producers obviously can get involved, but they have the opportunity to match with and meet anyone. Why did no one? They can mix with anyone. Why did none of the 50-year-olds and the 50-year-olds get together? Why did none of the 20-year-olds and 20-year-olds
With a
get
little
together?
clip at the end of one of the episodes where they do show that there were other matches and those
Right.
people where the age gap was much closer. Yeah. So
Right.
40-year-olds and 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds and 50-year-olds, 20-year-olds and 20-year-olds. But these were the ones that got through to the next stage. So they obviously picked the ones where there was a saucy age gap.
Right.
And I have to say that, that desperation is there, isn't it? Because I don't know, I always think with reality TV shows, people want to get noticed, and that's fine. That's why they go on them. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got a question. If you had a friend who was your age and they were going out with a 48-year-old like Andrew, and maybe
I'm
make
24.
48 when he's 38, and it's all very well, you have your little relationship and you go out for dinner and stuff. Would you then introduce them to your friends? He could
This is
be your
actually,
dad,
I think about this
someone
more
the
than
age of your
family.
dad. Well, not your
My dad,
dad, arguably could be your dad.
and he's got 2 kids.
Yes.
I mean, I have had friends who have gone out with people who have kids, and but I think this okay, this is what I'm gonna say. First thing I actually thought about before family was actually introducing them to your friends.
Mm.
Because I think your family, if they know you and they love you and they support it, they'll go with it. Whereas your friends are usually around your age, sort of thereabouts, unless you're Angie and I. But like if you're introducing them to your uni mates, for example, who are all your age, yeah. Or vice versa. If say like I was dating a 48-year-old and I had to go meet his friends, I'd be feeling a bit, like, what are we gonna talk about? I think that's actually one of the hardest things. Because I think that's where insecurities and cracks and things you have in common and tastes like music, films, like the common ground might differ. And it might go from being, this is cute and fun and we're so different to going, oh, actually, are we at completely different stages in our lives?
And all the
Which
old men potentially would be looking at your bum
you wouldn't want to
and
be. I would fear,
giving your boyfriend a nudge going, "Oh, you
yeah,
called that potty."
yeah, I'd fear you. I would fear from, I would say to my friend, I worry you're a novelty, like you're that hot younger thing. And that's for
Mm.
male or female, by the way. I'd still feel like, if a bloke was dating an older woman, I'd be like, are you just, are you that young hot thing at the moment? I'd still feel
And
like
I
that.
think yeah, and I think that's what I think that's what I got left with is actually this sad sense of desperation that time is running out from the
Mm.
oldies. So obviously I identify, I suppose, more with the oldies. I can't understand why a young person, a young woman in particular, would want to go out with a 50-year-old or a 60-year-old. Doesn't make any sense to me at all. But from the older people in the show, older contestants in the show, it's just that people want to find love. And I think that's what it really came down to, really, was that everyone wants love and connection,
Yeah,
whatever old,
100%.
whatever age they are, right? And
100%.
yeah, desperation may be too strong a word, but a yearning, a need, and for whatever reason, things haven't worked out in their lives, so they find themselves on this show. From that point of view, whatever makes everyone happy, right? Love is
Yeah,
your answer.
and to be honest, I love to see, like, on Instagram sometimes when I do see these age gap couples and they look really happy and it's healthy. Like, for example, there's that influencer, Lorna Lux, who so tragically just lost her husband, but he was significantly older. And oh my God, they had the most amazing, like, love story. And, like, you could just tell they really loved each other. And so at the same time, it's so lovely to see when it does work.
Yeah.
So actually, I suppose what we want to maybe end this on is like love's love, float your boat, watch Age of Attraction because it is great TV. And please, imagine if anyone has an age gap relationship, get in touch with the podcast.
Yes,
Let
let
us
us
know.
know. Let us know. I think we're gonna have a second part of this episode, this,
I agree.
topic, when we watch right to the end. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Tell us about your age gap stories. You can tell us in confidence, and then we'll share them with the rest of the world. And we can't wait to see you next time. This has been Jen and 10. I'm Angie.
And I'm Annie.
And keep an eye out for our full-length episode of the pod next week. Bye!
Bye.